Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. Tim, what's going down, brother?
Right now, the sunshine is going down. There's a nice sunset just over there. Yeah, I love
Sorry, am
it.
I supposed to say, Tim, you all right?
I, I. People think that's because I look like Ali G when it's not. It's because I say, "You all right?"
It's a UK thing, man. All the
I.
when I talk to not like that, but I mean that's how I say it. But in the States, we might say, "Hey, man, what's up? How you doing? How's it going?" But a common
Yep.
thing that I've seen, observed, friends and guys in the UK, that always it starts off, "Hey, Doug, you all right?"
Yeah. So people in the US say, "What's going down?"
They might say that, yeah. Old people like me.
Yeah,
uh,
that doesn't happen in the UK. What's going down? Yeah, I'm pretty certain we don't say that. Tell you what, I was watching Billions, in fact, last night with, maybe you can clear this up. So, Mike Prince and his assistant,
Mike Prince. Which one's Mike Prince?
that big bald dude who's taking Axe's
Yeah, yeah,
paintings and all that stuff.
yeah.
So they sound British to me.
Huh.
And Amelia's like, no, they're not British, they're American. And I'm like, no, they're British.
They're not British.
They're not British. Neither of them.
I don't know about the woman. You're talking about the assistant district attorney, I think is what his role is, or something like that.
No, 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 no. I'll send you a link to it anyway. You can vox me this,
Oh,
but I am certain.
I
And
know who you're
my
talking
mind was
about.
blown last night. I'm like, what am I hearing? Like, why is this so difficult for me to understand?
I know who you're talking about now. I don't think they might be.
It's so interesting how people can look at. It's like those. Troy shows me these pictures, and she's like, "Oh, what color is that?" Like, it's gray. And she's like, "That's so weird." James, her brother, he says it's blue. My mom says it's purple. I'm like, no, that's gray. It's just interesting how people see and interpret things, right? Which kind of feeds into this topic.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's something that came up. We had a guy in the movement, right? A great guy. And so I'm trying to do my best not to give him away, but I think this is an important conversation because I know a lot of men face something similar. So guys listening to this, hear kind of the setup and see where, if anywhere, this is playing out in your life. He wants to change, right? He wants to work on his marriage. He wants to work on his health. I mean, this guy's an A player across the board, right? He wants to be an MVP, ex-athlete, multi-sport ex-athlete, just a stud. And he wants to improve in all areas. However, he's not. He's not making the big leaps and changes necessary or consistently to do so.
Mm.
And the reason being is he's got to make money. Right?
Wow. That he thinks that's the reason. It's
Well,
really not.
exactly. That's what he would say. It's I can't do this. Right? I gotta be at work. I gotta do this to make the money. Now, granted, he's making large sums of money by anybody's standards. We're talking, 7-figure weeks that he's doing take home wise. And so what's happening for him is he's almost like golden handcuffs in a way, but he keeps having these ideas. I want to do this with the kids, my wife, myself. I want to fill my soul, my cup. I'm not happy. Yet he keeps going back to the well of have to make more money. I have to make more money into that story. So, Tim, obviously we see this happen time and time again. This is nothing unusual at all. You said something interesting to him recently. What was that you said?
So he was talking about he was talking about doing the work, right? Well, you just don't get it, Tim. It's really difficult for me to make the calls. What do you expect me to do? Just leave my desk at that time? I'm like, well, it's up to you. I mean, your choice is to either settle and accept the fact that you're going to make a little bit less money, but you're going to be able to work on yourself, or you accept the fact that you're not going to be able to work on yourself, in exchange for making more money. Choice is yours. Yeah, but no, you just don't get it. It's just not as easy as that because I'm the top producer and I'm known for what I do and I set the standard. I'm like, cool. So if that's what you want, then celebrate that and stop trying to fit a square peg in a round hole and say you want to change because you don't. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's no shame in that. Just accept it. It's the same in your marriage. And to be fair, he's done a lot of great work in his marriage and he's done as much as he probably can to a degree. There's always more to do, obviously. I get that we're on a journey, but he's done a lot of great work on himself. And obviously, for any marriage to work, it also takes two people, right? So he's arrived at a point in his marriage where he's like, look, I want to be having more sex. Cool. So you get to put some boundaries in place and you get to communicate some consequences when certain things are not met because it's not a standard for you that you're not willing to accept is not having X amount of sex. Or you just accept that you're not going to have sex or as much sex as you want. Well, no, you just don't get it. It's not as easy as that. Well, it kind of is. Yeah, but I can't get divorced. I'm not telling you to get divorced. I'm just telling you to realize that you have a choice and you're not strapped into any decision. You have a choice. You can change your choice at any moment and stop complaining because you're acting as though you don't have a choice. You're acting like a victim, like you've been forced to be in this relationship in this way. You've been forced to work at this time in this way. You're not. Might feel like you are because you've tied up so much of your identity around these things, but you're actually not.
Well, there's a number of important things here for me in this, and this is very common, right? Guys, if you're listening to this, we're kind of breaking this case study down, not because of this guy. This guy's awesome. But because we see it so much in different elements, right? So I want you to test the elements. And if any of this sounds familiar to you guys, which I'm guaranteeing a lot of this will ring true in different areas of your life, right? Maybe it's your relationship, maybe it's your fitness, your health, or what have you. But there's a couple things here, right? One is this guy, since I've met him, has made tremendous leaps and bounds. He doesn't see it, right? He doesn't. And one of the reasons he doesn't see it is so easy for him to always be looking for the next thing and fall a little bit more into victim mode. Now, why do you fall into victim mode? Well, it's not because he's not strong, because he's a super strong man, right? The reason you do is the or. I got to do this or be on the calls with the coaches and the leadership team, and this, that, and the other. I can either spend time with my wife or make this extra couple $1 million to pay for whatever it may be, right? So when we talk about choices and free will and everything else, there's always three that you have, right? You always have three options. Well, Doug, no, you don't get it. Okay, heard that many, many times. If it's one thing, that's not a choice, right? That's a directive. There's no choice. Hey, I have to do this. There's nothing there, right? Two, right? I'm going to do this or that. That's a dilemma. That's not a choice. That's a dilemma. A choice happens when there's three options. And by the way, guys, there's always three options. Always, right? We can go through this scenario. I've been through it hundreds of times with different guys. There's always at least three options, usually a lot more. We have to get out of that box of woe is me, victimhood to see it. I was there. I get it. I used to do this. I gotta grind out work, or I can go out, or I can do something fun for myself, right? And that's the way classically society teaches us the reward system. When you do this, you'll get that. Really? Is that the only map, right? The only way to get there? And it seems like guys that are coming out of the Matrix unplugged that figure out another way. I'm digressing a little bit, but we talk about one destination, two paths. Go look that up, you guys, in previous podcasts. We have some videos around that. If you've been to an Alpha Reset, you've probably seen either myself or Tim draw it up on the board, or maybe one of the other coaches. Really important to get back there. So the key here, right, is when you don't believe you have a choice, you naturally have a dilemma. When you have a dilemma, that naturally puts you in the victim place, right? When someone takes away your choice, your actual freedom and choice, it naturally puts you in the victim seat. Now, no one's going around saying, "Oh, I'm a victim, pity me." But watch your languaging, watch the way you're speaking about it, right? It's not my fault. You don't understand, da, da, da. That's victimhood. And that's because you're in the dilemma. What's that third option? And that's what you really want to look at here. So for this guy, Tim, when you're talking to him, and he's saying this, right? One, if I recall, he couldn't get on the time. You don't understand. He's missed the last couple, but yet he agreed to be on them and to the times and the times being there. But that's not the point. The point is how you get into this state, right? How do you get into this area? So continue on with the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of how he gets in, I mean, for him, it's been a way of operating for so many years, right? For so many years, he thought that he had to do all these things because he fell into that trap of believing that the way to provide is to go out there and make money, right? And there was nothing really else he needed to do in some respects. Obviously, be there for his kids, but that's still the lie that a lot of guys have been fed, right? And that's what leads them to living from the outside in versus the inside out, and going down the whole path of the five agonies, which we've spoken about before. So for him, really, this conversation, I really wanted him to remember that he had a choice and that he always has a choice. And to realize that the story he'd been telling himself, well, no, it's either this or that, really just wasn't true, because if he would have chosen, well, do you know what? I'm going to be on the call. And yeah, it might mean that I make a little bit less money because I can't be there. I can't be at work at this particular time when this certain things happen, when this certain thing happens. What he might have found, and what we often find, is for the men that actually choose to then invest in themselves, be on these calls, they often end up making more money.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because by default, by the men taking a stand for themselves, sticking that fork in the ground and committing to their growth, then it forces them to find solutions. Okay, well, if I'm going to be on this call at this time, what gets to happen then? What if I could make more money whilst, could my team do it? Okay. What would they need in order for me to not be there, but for them to do it? Okay. How can I empower some of them to be the top producers instead of me? What would that look like? Okay. So, what I'm making here, once you actually remember, because I think that's part of the process here, remembering that you have a choice, and you start to exercise that free will, it puts you on the path of possibilities. But you've got to have something you're committed to. Right, I'm going to commit to this call, let's say, so I can invest in myself because I recognize the importance of it. Right. That's a standard for me. It's like work. You've been working out a ton, Doug, right? So it's like, right, working out is the standard. Right, Tim, I've got to be off this call in 10 minutes. I'm working out. The calling fits in around you working out because that's become the standard, right?
Yep.
Same thing with this.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's perfectly what I was going to dovetail into. So that's great. Is priorities, right? What are your priorities? So when you say, I'll use another example that a lot of guys can relate to. And what I've been in, right? I'm gonna drop 10 pounds, 20 kilos, whatever. I'm gonna drop weight going through. And then I go out and I get pizza, I get a hamburger, I get a milkshake, I eat ice cream, I don't exercise. If I keep telling that story to people, right? Oh, yeah, I'm gonna get in great shape. My health is so important to me. My health is so important to me. The way I look is so important to me. My fitness is so important to me. Yet I don't work out. I don't show up to my gym or my personal trainer. I'm shoving shitty food in my face. Eventually people are going to go, stop lying. You're lying. The choices you're making do not align with what you say are your priorities. Now, here's the worst part about this, guys. The hypocrisy this creates within inside of yourself is going to rip you to shreds
Mm-hmm.
because you know better than I know that you're lying to yourself. Your subconscious mind is hearing you say these lies over and over again. And most of us, and again, I've been there before, so I get it. But most of us have been doing this for so long that we don't even hear it anymore. It's become a story of who we are, right? A story. Like this gentleman's story is, I have to be the top producer, apparently. I have to do this. You don't understand. That's an identity story. Do you want to be known as a top producer when you're 70 or as the most amazing husband, the best father, right? What's really important to you to go through? Because these are stories, guys. If we're saying year after year, we want to fix our marriage, yet you haven't been to an activation method, it's got to put up or shut up. All right, cool. Stop complaining about it. You're going to be in a sexless marriage. You don't get it, right? You've been deactivated. You don't know how to reactivate yourself. Listening to podcasts is good. Audiobooks are good. But if you really want to take a big leap, you need to take a bigger stretch and really invest in yourself, right? If you've been a jerk for 20 years, it's not going to change. You're not going to flip the script in one day, or a 16 chapter book isn't going to fix that situation. It's going to take time, right? It's going to take time. It's going to take some personal work, some paradigm shifts, some programming shifts. If you have the right program, the right coaches, if you stay the course, you'll get there. Just like in sports, you just got to stay the course. Some people, are better sprinters and some are better long distance runners, whatever, right? But you stay the course with the program, you'll get it. You'll get there, especially when it's got a proven track record like ours. I mean, it's proven to work time and time again, and it only gets better all the time. Point being, right, is you got to give up that story, right? This gentleman needs to give up that story that he's telling, you don't get it. Yeah, I want to work on myself, but dilemma. Dilemma means I'm the victim. You don't understand me, right? Don't be a victim. The question is, how can I make this work? How can I do my business, save my marriage, do all these things? How can I make this work? And maybe it does come down to, you can't do it all right now. Maybe that is. Then what are your priorities? What's most important to you? And if you tell me your marriage is the most important, or you tell me your health is, yet you put business first, you're lying. You're lying. Because if you're listening to this show, you either have a computer, you have a smartphone, you're doing okay. You're surviving at least, right? I'm guessing most of you are thriving. Now, comparison, Tim may make $1 million and Tim might say, well, 10 million is my standard a year. Got it. There's a gap. But that's not the point. If Tim's priority is to work on his relationship with Amelia, his partner, yet he's not spending any time with her, he's not investing in coaching, which he is, by the way. He's not investing in all of these things to make that relationship better, then I would tell Tim to shut up. Stop complaining, Tim, right? Things of that nature.
And that was, I kept pressing this gentleman on this point. Well, accept it. Accept it. Every story that got thrown back, cool. So you're choosing this, so accept that you're not going to have that. And after a few times, he landed. And you're like, okay, cool. Well, I'm going to change it then. Because, the idea of accepting and putting the sword down, laying the tools down, and that moment that you stop lying to yourself and you realize that you are lying to yourself and that you either choose to accept one of the realities that you've created for yourself or you choose to change it, that's freedom. That's liberation right there in that moment, because you realize, you accept, you stop the lie, which keeps you trapped, and you're able to move one way or another. But it's a very powerful place to be at that point. And
Huge.
yeah, I think people just forget the power and the ease of which they can have agency over themselves.
Yeah. I mean, look, I was complaining about I have a 1-year old. When we had our child, I gained a bunch of weight and I was bitching and complaining about it. And what I do, I went out and hired, got a gym as soon as I could with COVID, and hired someone so I was accountable to them on a regular basis. I have 18 different degrees and certifications in fitness and health. I know what to do, but it was either shut up and just be a fat guy or take massive action and do something about it, right? And now I love it. I'm back in. I'm doing what I love to do. My wife's going with me. It's fucking fantastic. And I'm saying this, guys, is if what you're constantly complaining about is your health, that's number one. You're like, oh, my fitness is number one. Go get a trainer right now. Pause, hire a trainer, throw down some cash. You can do it. And whatever you're going to do is going to be an investment in time and capital, right? Time and capital, financial capital could be social capital, et cetera. If it's your business, you're saying, you know what, Doug, my business is the number one thing to me. Great. Get a business coach. Get someone to help you put it through. Someone who's been there, who's going to accelerate things for you. Absolutely. Get a consultant. Get someone who does great work that can take you, instead of taking 5 years to get to your goal, it's going to take a year or less, right? Someone who's going to lay that foundation and make it easier for you. You're saying, Doug, my relationship, my marriage is number one. My kids are number one. Then you get your ass in an activation method right now. Get into the activation method. Stop complaining. It's going to be investment in time and capital, and just do it. Otherwise, you got to own it. Or maybe it's another area for you. Maybe it's something else that you're saying is the number one thing in your life. It's above your relationship, right? Whatever it is. Maybe it's your spirituality, my relationship with God. That's number one. Awesome. Get yourself into Bible study, get yourself into the mosque or the synagogue or whatever your religious preference is, right? Whatever you're telling me is your number one priority. For most of us men, it's going to be our marriage or relationship, right? If you're not married, and our kids. Are you making that a priority? Yeah, it's definitely my priority. Cool. Here's another exercise, guys. Open up your calendar right now. Right now. I have family time a lot on my calendar. Tim's seen it. A lot of people have seen it. Where is that your priority on your calendar? I
just have meetings with Doug. Meeting with Doug.
Well, Tim, you have your priorities in order. Meeting with Doug. So my guess is, guys, you're going to look at your calendar. It's going to be mostly business related things. And so now we want to look at, where are your priorities? If it's fitness, again, I'm going to challenge you. If you're saying number one thing in your life is your fitness, get a trainer. I don't care what you know, what you don't know. Just hire a trainer, at least for a while, so they get your butt in gear, or a nutritionist. If it's in your marriage, right, with your kids, you got to get into an activation method and get reactivated. You just have to. There's no two ways about it, right? If it's with, something else in your life you're saying is number one, then go do that, right? Get a coach, get a trainer, get a coach. Just invest time and resources and prove that these are really your priorities. Or just accept that you're lying to yourself and let it go.
Yeah. It'd be a lot easier to just do one of those two things. Accept it and stop lying, or change. It's so much easier. It's so much harder to stay on the fence.
Yep.
So much harder. The shame that goes with it, the story you tell yourself. It takes so much more energy to straddle that thin fence and keep your balance and to stay on it than it does to just jump off one side. And then when you land on the ground, you can relax, feels good to be here. And, you decide which side of the fence you want to jump off.
I've been there, man. Tim, I know you have too. We've all have.
Yeah, we all have.
We eat our own cooking, right? There's no doubt about that. I mean, Tim wanted to make an investment in his relationship, and so he had a coach who he's been working with for over a year now, for he and his partner. That's helping them take them to the next level, right? They're being proactive rather than reactive. So, guys, I just can't. I'm so adamant about this. I'm passionate. I love this guy that we're talking about. He's an amazing man, and as a coach, you can just see we've been coaching for so long. You can just see inside this guy's soul, just such a sweet, great guy, super intelligent, super nice, the kind of guy you'd want to go get a beer with and just help out, right? You'd be happy to help him move, right? He's that guy. And I just want the best for him. And I want the best for you guys listening to this. And look, I've been there, like I said. But really, if you're complaining about it, you need to take massive action or just settle.
Yeah,
settle.
It's really not as scary as you think either. It can be so scary, the story that you've built up and the energy that's gone with it and the emotion and there's so much wrapped up within that story that keeps you on the fence. When you actually jump, you realize, that was easier. Oh, people actually don't give a shit. Oh, actually has worked out. Oh, you start to realize all these things, but you got to just jump.
Yeah, it is. The scary thing to me is settling. That's me. I'm an unusual cat, right? So, anyway, guys, what I want you to take from this is really just list your priorities. Write down your top 3, not 4. Your top 3 priorities in your life, right? And use the 5 territories. Easy way of doing it, right? Self, health, wealth, relationships, business, right? Order those. What are the top 3 for you? How is your life reflecting those top 3? Or is it? For most people, most men, and Tim and I have both been in situations, business is number 1 when you actually look at the way that we're living out our life. Yet, and business may be in the top 3, but usually it's not in the top 2 when you really sit down with someone and talk about what's important to them. It's really important. Rocking chair test. Important. So gentlemen, do that, and then start taking massive action, whatever it is for you. Again, if it's fitness and health, get a trainer, join the gym now. Get someone come into your house with a nutrition now. It's your relationship. Get on a call with one of the advisors, one of the alumni about the activation method. See if it's the right fit for you, or try something else, right? But do something. All right, guys, that's a wrap for us today. As always, if you've been here before, we'd love for you to leave a review. Also, jump over in the Facebook group, guys. We have a free Facebook group if you don't know about it. It's where the coaches hang out. We're in there often, posting questions, some great conversations going on in there. And we'd love to know about what you think about this episode in particular, right? Mm-hmm. This episode's got a lot of meat to it if you digest it. I'd love to hear what you think about it over there. And if it's your first time with us, go over to thepowerfulman.com/bonus. That's thepowerfulman.com/bonus. And go ahead and grab the Reignite cheat sheet. It's going to be up there for a little bit longer. We will be changing that out shortly from what we've been told by the rest of the team. They're going to be switching that out. So make sure you get over there and get that so you can actually reignite your relationship and get a couple things started. That's a wrap for us, guys. As always, take some action. And we'll see you next time on The Powerful Man Show.